Hello, everyone. My presentation title is Bridging the Gap in Education in Rural Area and the Power of Grit. I want to talk about the challenges faced by rural communities in education and the kind of strategies that teachers can implement in order to tackle these problems. As we all know, education is a central focus of attention over years in many societies, and it's essential that everyone have access to quality education. However, rural areas often lack the resources and infrastructure necessary to have effective education. As a result, students in rural areas often face significant challenges in accessing quality education. In this presentation, I will discuss the key issues faced by rural education in the two different settings, in Iran as Asian country and in the United States. And I will give you some examples of these strategies that they implemented in order to improve education system in these two areas. First, I want to talk about the concept of grit and how how teachers can use it to build resilience in their students. So, what is grit? In answering this question, I've made some research in different kind of studies in this field. And I found that grit is the ability to persist in the face of challenges and setbacks. It involves a combination of passion and enthusiastic toward long-term goals, and is an essential trait for success in academics and in life in general. So grit is not about having a high level of IQ or being a talented person, but it's about perseverance to work hard toward your goals and not giving up during the process. So the other question that may arise here is, why is grit essential? Individuals with grit are shown to be more likely to succeed in academics, in career, and in their life in general. Moreover, grit is a teachable trait which can be developed through intentional practice and effort. So, how teachers can cultivate grit in their students? Well, as a matter of fact, there are some strategies that teachers can use to build perseverance in their students. For example, by setting high expectations for students, the teachers are able to remind their students that they can achieve their full potential. This will help students develop a growth mindset, which is necessary for them to understand that they can overcome any kind of setback with effort and hard work. Providing opportunities for students to practice grit is the other strategy that teachers can adopt. They can do that by asking their students to set long-term goals for themselves, break them into smaller milestones, and attempt to persist during hardships. I assume that this strategy is just meaningful if teachers model grit for their students. So the question that may arise here is that in what ways teachers can build resilience in their students? Teachers should model grit in their students by actually setting some telling their stories, their stories about their experience teaching in years or even just a couple of months that they are involved in teaching. So this will help students to understand that grit is a valuable trait that everyone can develop it. And then teachers should provide feedback for their students, a kind of feedback and support to work hard to work toward your goals. And this will help students stay motivated through difficulties. So grit is an important feature both for students and for teachers, particularly in vulnerable areas such as rural settings. As for my research purposes regarding grit in among teachers in Iran and in the United States, I made some interviews with the rural teachers and in order to see what their perspective is toward grit in these areas. So to do so, first of all, I try to diagnose the main problem that they face recently or they are struggling with currently. Basically, for Americans, the main problem that they faced during recent years was dealing with COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And for Iranians, it was related to the kind of problems, problem related to political issues and financial and economic problem that they are struggling with. So I will provide you with some of the answers that I got from teachers, which actually exemplify grit among teachers. In answering the question related to what motivates them to succeed in spite of all challenges that they are facing, basically helping students to achieve their full potential was a major common answer among these two groups of respondents. And overall, they believe that it motivated them to keep going while things get difficult. Some of them mentioned we should try to remind ourselves that every student is different from the other. This was especially with regard to teachers in the United States and the kind of students that they had. I mean, in Clay Center, I made a kind of interview with teachers, and they actually provided some kind of information regarding their kind of diversity among their students. They mentioned that we have a kind of white students mixed with other kinds. So this, they believe that all students are different. So they are from different backgrounds. They are from different families, different cultures. So it's our responsibility to build, to find ways to actually help them succeed in spite of all the differences. Some Iranian teachers mentioned about we should try to work hard. We should try to reflect on our own teaching practices and look for ways to improve quality of education for our students. Regarding their experience in struggling situation, one of the Iranian teachers told her story about the challenges that she faced with kind of students with behavioral problem. She mentioned that about the time that this student tried to act out in the classroom and rile up kids in the classroom. So she said that it took time for me to understand the main problem that this student had faced. And kind of a source of this problem came from her family background and the kind of financial issues that her father came up with. And so as a result of bankruptcy and the kind of financial issue, they had problem. They had the kind of family problem which affected my students. So after a couple of months, just researching and discussing issues with other colleagues and with school principal, I was able to develop a plan for my students. This teacher expressed her major role in cultivating pro-social kind of classroom community in the classroom, and giving her the responsibility to manage a class at least for some sessions. Although it was not easy for me at all at the very beginning steps, eventually I came to realize that I saw her progress in the classroom. And even now, I came to realize that she became a kind of a influential figure in my class. So I found this teacher trying to find strategies for enhancing social emotional skills, as well as finding some ways to tackle disruptive behavior in her class. So, in answering the other question related to how they maintain their passion for teaching, even during challenging time, one of the American teachers replied in this way: teaching is my passion and teaching is my calling. So I'm truly passionate about my about helping my students grow and learn. I stay connected with other colleagues, and I stay also engaged with the latest research and teaching methods. And also, I collaborate with school principals to learn from their experiences and their knowledge and expertise. Iranian teachers answered in this way: seeing my students succeed and reach their goals keep me motivated to pursue, and it keeps me passionate about teaching. In answering the other question, which was related to their experiences in challenging situations during their teaching career, for American teachers, as I mentioned, the main problem was related to COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Some of them mentioned that seeking out support from other colleagues and using some extra online resources help them overcome any kind of setbacks. They also mentioned about not only did they have to help some virtual classes for their students, but also they try to keep connected to parents to move forward in the process of teaching and learning. So, additionally, nearly all respondents involved in this study say that the situation at hand is a good opportunity to learn new skills and to employ modern technology in the class. And these tools could be helpful, especially in applying double robotics in the classroom, and I mean in employing some kind of technology tools in the class, especially in rural centers in the United States. So the major concern among Iranian teachers was related to some kind of chemical attack in girls' school, and the critical situation that happened to them recently. One of these teachers said that some of my girl students got poisoned by the kind of chemical substance in the school. And she said that the kind of solution that I learned to adopt and to use for this kind of problem was reflecting on my own and in finding ways to tackle this problem. So I found the best strategy was actually holding some online classes, some virtual classes for students to try to keep them moving forward in spite of all challenges. In general, I found both group of teachers as greedy as they show their resilience and persistence, often working long hours without any expectations, without any expectations for any kind of salary increase, or they even put and invest from their own money in order to help poorer students to grow and develop in their education. So I found them the best example of commitment among their community, and I found them having a strong sense of obligations toward their goals and toward the community as in general. I found these greedy teachers in rural areas of Iran and in the United States as creative enough to find ways to engage their students and provide the resources necessary despite all challenges, all limitations that they face. Some of the Iranian and American teachers involved in this study pose some kind of recommendations for improving the quality of education in rural areas and in education system as a whole. For example, they believe that providing adequate funding for students and teachers can help them to address the kind of challenge that they are facing in education system. Some kind of solution to the problems that teachers are facing right now is increasing the teachers' salaries. Some of them assume that having access to technology, which can increase their kind of students' motivation, can help to bridge the digital gap that exists in the current education system in these areas. Some kind of innovative approaches such as distance learning, virtual classroom, and online learning material can help students have access to quality education, especially in vulnerable areas. So the last important criteria for them was teacher recruitment and retention by offering some incentives such as higher salaries for teachers, loan forgiveness program, and professional development opportunities for them in these areas. These all can help to attract and retain qualified teachers in rural areas. Most teachers would agree that teachers and great among teachers can be a valuable asset for educators. But my assumption is that it's the only piece of a puzzle when it comes to academic and personal success. I assume that teachers may work to cultivate grit in their students while also advocate for a system change that can help to create a more equitable opportunity for learners. In conclusion, it's important for those at higher levels, I mean, for the government and those responsible in higher organizations to provide grades for their teachers and to work to provide them with support and resources they need to survive in their jobs. As Angela Darkforth put it, we need to be gritty in order to make our students grittier. Thank you very much for your attention to this presentation.